Technology and the internet have become increasingly popular tools to find love and friendship. Unfortunately, they've also become popular tools for fraudsters and scammers. There's a lot of con artists out there creating fake profiles to lure in victims, establishing relationships, and eventually to extort money. One of our viewers asked, how do I know if the Filipina I'm talking to online is being genuine? Is she real? Is she fake? What are the warning signs I should be watching out for? With a Filipina, it can be quite challenging, especially if you are unfamiliar with the Filipino culture and customs. But there are some very obvious, very common warning signs, red flags that you can watch out for to avoid falling into a scam. When it comes to dating a Filipina, especially if you're talking to her online, precaution is the key to being safe in a romantic relationship. So today, let me share with you some very common signs that you can watch out for. One of the first signs of a romance scammer is the one who professes love quickly without meeting in person. Now, it's not impossible to fall in love with someone before meeting them in person. In fact, I know of a lot of couples who met online who started that way. For some people, it's not that hard to start developing feelings and affections for someone, especially if you're talking to that person on a regular basis and if you're talking to that person about things that really matters, things that allow you to know that person on a deeper level. A lot of times, even before people have those types of conversations, there's already a lot of interest to begin with. But there's a big difference between someone telling you, I like you, I'm attracted to you, versus them giving you a full blown love confession, especially if that confession includes, that marriage, uh, topic. If this person start telling you, I love you so much, I can't live without you, I gotta marry you, you have to marry me, those kind of words, watch out for those because if it's too good to be true, it's probably not true, it's probably fraud. And there's a couple of things that you can also pay attention to while you're having that kind of conversation with this person. With long distance relationships, communication is key. So if getting in touch with the Filipina you're talking to is difficult, then that can be a red flag. But here's something to consider, and this is coming from someone who's lived in the Philippines, who still has family in the Philippines, and is familiar with the geography of the country. Even with today's technology and the internet, some of these places in the Philippines still don't have a good internet connection. It is important to know where the Filipina you're talking to is from because the Philippines has 7,100 islands, and some of these places can be remote. And some of these places don't have good infrastructure, especially the internet. So if she is in that kind of situation, yes, there's going to be a lot of challenges when it comes to, having regular communication. But, if there's a will, there's a way. She's going to find a way. What you really should be paying attention to is the Filipina who has a good internet connection, but then you experience situations where, while talking to her, you have this disconnection, you experience disconnections, and the impossibility of communicating with her during certain time frames, because that is a big red flag. That is an indication, could be an indication that she's either married, or maybe she's talking to other foreigners and she's doing exactly the same thing, and you're just one of her victims, unfortunately. With today's technology, it's not that hard to verify if you're talking to a real person online. You can now easily talk to a person face to face using video calls. That's very common now. It doesn't even cost that much money for as long as you have internet connection. So if the Filipina you're talking to is refusing to show her face to you online, then that is a red flag. Now, it is good to know, it is important to know that a good Filipina with good moral values will not offer to show indecent photos and indecent videos of herself to you. If you meet the Filipina like that, then obviously she is not a good woman. And a lot of scammers use that method to extort money. If you're looking for a good woman, be a good man yourself. For Filipinas out there, if you're talking to a man, it doesn't matter if he's a foreigner, he's Filipino. It doesn't matter if that's long distance or you're in a relationship, If a man asks you for those kind of vile things, please don't do it. Don't ruin your life. I see a lot of cases like this in Tulfo in action. If you're in the Philippines, you're familiar with him. A lot of women fall prey into this kind of situation, very sad situation. If a man asks you for these types of things, indecent photos, indecent videos, please don't do it. Don't ruin your life. Please save yourself, for the right man, the right person for the right time. The next warning sign is a big red flag, the constant need for money. If you meet a Filipina like that who's constantly asking you for money, constantly sharing sad stories and emergencies, and then at the end of that conversation, she's asking for help, she's asking for your money. Watch out. Pay attention to that because that is a big red flag. I talked about that in my previous video titled Why Do Filipinas Ask for Money? If you want to get more details on that specifically, I'm going to go ahead and add the video link in my description below. A Filipina who cares about you, if she likes you, if she loves you, she will not take advantage of you. So always be suspicious of people asking for financial help, especially if you've never met them in person. The next warning sign, and this one I've heard of this before, if the Filipina you're talking to is refusing to meet you in person. So for most couples, probably all couples who are in a long distance relationship, meeting in person is probably one of the most exciting part of the relationship. um, I will never forget the first time I met my husband. I will. That will be. That is still one of the most memorable, most joyous experiences, moments of my life that I will always treasure. So if she's refusing to meet you in person, then something is wrong with that, and that is not a good sign. And if every time you bring up that conversation, you bring up that topic and she's kind of like dodging it, yes, that is a red flag. And if she's constantly postponing, is for example, you've already talked about it and said we're gonna meet at this date, and then she's constantly postponing that, coming up with excuses, that is a red flag. All right, those are the warning signs that you can pay attention to. Be careful out there. There's a lot of con artists out there. There's a lot of scammers. So if you have any question, you can add it in my comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on my next one. Bye, guys.